Hello, Star Wars fans. Could Director Krennic be in the Bad Batch? And if so, what does this mean? When Rogue One came out, we were introduced to an empire at the height of its power, and we had only gotten a glimpse of this in Rebels. And personally, I thought it was pretty cool to see the internal workings of the empire. One where military leaders would take on special projects and lobby for backing of these projects and just try to get in good graces with the Emperor. And we see glimpses of this in Rebels also, like when Thrawn is told he might lose funding for the Defender program to Operation Stardust. And in Rogue One, we meet Director Krennic, a cruel but brilliant man, and at times he seems childish. Krennic has staked his reputation on the completion of the long-delayed Death Star project. And we also see that he has a rivalry with Grand Moff Tarkin, someone who Krennic cannot stand and is constantly trying to outmaneuver using any means possible. But we all know how that ended. Well, I'm hoping we see Krennic back for the Bad Batch, and it would create some great depth for the character and let us see the rivalry between Tarkin and him, and also see what kind of key role he played in the Empire. So what we know about Krennic around the rise of the Empire was that he was the commander of the Empire's military department of advanced weapons research. And this department existed in the Republic also. And this department in the Republic would be the ones that created the electro-proton bomb that unleashed the Zilla Beast, and they would also create the toxins that were used to sterilize the planet Geonosis after the species revolted against the Empire while being enslaved to build the Death Star that they originally created a concept for. And later, under the Empire, they would use Sabine Wren's arc pulse generator, which channeled energy through Beskar and disintegrated the person wearing said armor. And then ultimately this department would head Project Stardust, which is the Death Star project under Krennic, which lasted for around 20 years. So the big question I had was, how did Krennic become director prior to the completion of the Death Star, when the Death Star project would meet constant delays and failures, with Imperial leadership being dissatisfied with the progress over 20 years? With the Republic's fall and the rise of the Empire, the Clone Wars was not entirely over, as there were some pockets of resistance that rebelled against the new government. And the early years of the Empire were marked by military occupation and subjugation of various worlds that were still part of the Confederacy. And these Confederacy rebellions would last about 5 years. And during this time, we would see many prominent Imperial leaders gain power, and ultimately this is how Tarkin became Grand Moff. So where I'm going with this is, I believe Krennic created a super weapon prior to the Death Star, and that's how he reached the rank of director. And what this super weapon is, I believe that he placed a prototype Death Star laser onto a Venator class Star Destroyer. Now, to properly test the Death Star super laser, Krennic did place a prototype laser on a Star Destroyer and fired it into some black holes. But I believe after a successful test run, I think he used the super laser as a bunker buster on separatist strongholds. Now, by the Rebel Files reference book, I believe, which is Legends now, there was a Onager class Star Destroyer that was used as a siege breaker, and the whole front of the Star Destroyer was replaced by a super laser or a pair of turbo lasers that would fire repeatedly. And this was for dislodging rebellions and opposing fleet's capital ships. And this is how I believe Krennic got director, by dislodging rebellions using this super weapon. I believe this would be a great way also to tie in the Bad Batch to all the trilogies out there, because we see in the original trilogy we have the Death Stars, and in the prequels we have the mention and the schematics of the Death Stars. And in the sequel series, we have Star Destroyers that do have Death Star lasers on them. And this could create a great climactic arc for the Bad Batch, where they need to destroy the Star Destroyer before it destroys the beginnings of the rebellion. Let me know in the comments below if you guys do want to see another super weapon in the Bad Batch, and if you think this is a good idea. May the Force be with you.